everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is December 17th, 2020, and these are the top stories of the day. To kick things off, Andaseat just revealed their Marvel series of high-end video game chairs, and they look pretty cool. We've got 4 here, which includes Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, and Ant-Man. I don't know if I have a favorite just yet, but they all have something solid. I think Captain America has a nice uniform look right here with the stars and stripes. Kind of looks like a chest emblem and torso region. Nothing is obscured here by the airflow zones. Has nice letter A. Iron Man looks solid. However, you do have a little bit of visual breakup covering the mask of his helmet. Spider-Man's solid. This kind of works with Spider-Man's eyes, predominantly white. And then Iron Man, no complaints. Sorry, not Iron Man, Ant-Man. Looks like they actually changed up the backing with the airflow in this one, so it's more vertical than horizontal. And overall, the color schemes look nice. They're good quality chairs. So, yeah, if you're looking for a gamer seat, you like Marvel, you like superheroes, Andaseat, this is their Marvel series. So I thought I would give them a little bit of a highlight because not bad. I may pick up one myself, but I don't know just yet. So if you're interested, or if you do, let me know which you got. Next, since it is Thursday, it's Video Game Sales Talk Day. So coming out of Japan, we have our weekly Famitsu Sales. This is the information representing week 50, which is from December 7th through December 13th. Once again, thank you to Reset Era and Chris1964 for supplying this information in an easy to lay out presentation. To hop to it, at number 1 is Momotaro Dentetsu again. This is the Nintendo Switch title that came out there, boom, hit hard, and it's having another successful week this week. Up 44% from the previous week with 166,000 plus copies sold, bringing its total to 755,000. So we're looking at three-quarter million copies sold in just a few weeks. Very impressive. And number 2 is the solo PS4 game here, and that's Cyberpunk 2077. Chunsoft pushed pretty hard to have this game be successful in Japan. It debuted with 104,000 copies sold, which is quite respectable. However, these first-person games, and not just first-person games, but these story-driven single-player experiences coming from a Western developer in Japan tend to be front-loaded and a second-week hard drop-off. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have somewhere between an 85 to 92% decline in sales next week, which would be so low in copies sold next week that you might not see Cyberpunk in the top 10. But for now, 100,000, not bad. And number 3, Animal Crossing New Horizons for Nintendo Switch with 71,000 copies sold. That's up 25%. Here's the holidays. This is where Nintendo really shines. They shine all throughout the year in Japan, honestly, especially with the Nintendo Switch in the last 3.5 years. But during the holidays, Nintendo always does big numbers. We're looking at 6.175 million physical copies sold, which is wild. Ring Fit Adventure comes in at number 4, another game with a healthy boost from the previous week of 24%. 49,803 is what it sold for the week, bringing its total to 1.969 million. It's now just 31,000 copies away from selling 2 million in Japan for a brand new IP. Beautiful. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 5 with 31,000 copies sold. 3.34 million total, not counting digital, up 38% from the previous week. Pikmin 3 Deluxe. This bodes well for the Pikmin series. The fact that it sold 30,000 for the week, up 42% from the previous week, 367,000 plus copies sold, which passes the Wii U version that this game is based off of, and no signs of really slowing down. I'm happy to say that I think Pikmin 4 is going to be quite a big success in Japan and the rest of the world, so I can't wait to see that game when it comes out. Nintendo Switch has a new game this week, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 from Sega with 26,000 copies. Minecraft at number 8 with 25,427 copies, up 66% from the previous week. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at 22,886. I wonder how this game is going to be reflected in an upcoming week's worth of sales data once Sephiroth becomes available. That's going to be exciting. For now, though, you're looking at almost 4 million just physical. Of course, this game had a healthy boost, up 77% from the previous week. And finally, we haven't seen this one in a little while in the top 10, but it's still been in the top 30, and that's Super Mario Party for Nintendo Switch, with 22,414 copies sold, now at 1.657 million. And of course, this 22,000 is up 52% from the previous week. Overall, that's a 9-to-1 split of Nintendo Switch to PS4. These last 2 weeks of the year are probably going to be all 10 on Nintendo Switch. I don't know if we'll see a PlayStation 4, probably not a PS5. That would be even more unlikely in the top 10, but we'll see. Got a couple of weeks left. The next 2 weeks are going to be exciting, I think. Moving into hardware, the Nintendo Switch was the leader this week with 229,698 units, I should say, sold. That's almost 250,000, very impressive, up from last week, only down from last year by 7,000. That's really, really solid, and that's without Nintendo having, a giant November or December release themselves. They had Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, but that's not as big to Japan as Pokemon was, Of course, Momotaro helped out by being, a late November, early December release, thanks to Konami, given something new for the Nintendo Switch for the holidays. We're looking at a very healthy year. We're almost up a full 1.5 million from 2019. Nintendo Switch next week, all it has to do is sell 202,000, and I fully expect it to hit 17 million in Japan. Truly wild. PlayStation 5 at 11,056. It's just a little down from the previous week. We're inching closer slowly to 250,000. At this point, actually, believe it or not, the PlayStation 5 has sold fewer consoles in its amount of weeks in Japan as Wii U has, for that same launch align time. And, when you think that Wii U didn't do too well in Japan, you're looking at PS5 numbers saying it's struggling. Now, that's just Japan. PlayStation 5 is going to have no trouble in North America and in European markets. But in Japan, at least in the first year, I don't see too many highly compelling titles that come out that draw the Japanese market to buying the system. Of course, we're still in launch months. There aren't a whole lot of games out. Some of the games that are out that are compelling are cross-compatible. It's like Spider-Man Miles Morales, so the incentive goes down a little bit to buying a new system if you're not ready yet. The scarcity is also there, so I think when Sony gets the stock better, by default we should have an increase in PS5 sales. But software-wise, in Japan at least, it's going to take several months, maybe closer to a year before we see this is a game that the Japanese market needs to have. That's what they're really looking forward to. Will it be Final Fantasy 16? Will it be Resident Evil 8? Is it going to take something else to make them need to have the PS5? We'll see. PS4, respectable, 9,154. Only a little drop from last year at this point, up from last week by triple. Xbox Series brand of systems at 1,400, just a little down from the previous week. It's a struggling system, though, with only 30,000 in Japan. I really hope that this number goes up in these next few months. It'd be nice to have a 100,000 systems sold, by the half-year mark, but I don't know how likely that is. 3DS hanging in there, 553. Will it get to 25 million in total? Well, if you're looking at last year's to date, 184,000, and this year's to date so far, 61,000, we're going to get, at best 2,000-3,000 more before the end of the year, but that 2,000-3,000 more is only going to bring this to, 24,560,000 total. So it's not likely for this to have a lifetime date of 25 million. But hey, 24 million for a system as a successor to the very popular Nintendo DS is still pretty impressive. And finally, the original Xbox One at 38 with a total of 114,000. See, this is why I'm hoping that Xbox can break some better territory in Japan and hit 50,000 by June. Ideally hit 100,000 by June, but you're talking about hitting 100,000 within 7 months to maybe a year as a goal when the whole lifetime of the Xbox One was just 114,000. Not too likely, but possible, especially with the Series S being quite affordable in comparison to either model of the PS5, but we'll see. And finally today, I know a big chunk of that was sales talk, and we talked about the chairs in the beginning, because there's not a whole lot of news stories yet. However, later today, and not too long from now, we're going to have that Sephiroth presentation from Mr. Masahiro Sakurai, so stay tuned for that in its own separate video. But next up, I do have one more cool gaming thing to share. This is a trailer released. And yes, you're looking at a couple of things going on. Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding, baby and all, but looks like Johnny Silverhand's arm, doesn't it? From Cyberpunk 2077. Well, there's a little crossover going on, and it's kind of cool because just yesterday on Video Game News with Paul Gale Network, I talked about how Hideo Kojima's is now celebrating his 5th anniversary, and that we'll be, experiencing some new things sooner or later. And, well, here's that sooner or later. Now, I'm sure that 2021 is going to bring us even more, but for now, pretty cool to see something happen so immediately following, yesterday's news, yesterday's celebration. This is just for PC, by the way. It's an exclusive mod, and there are pretty good amount of people happy for it. Pretty good amount of people that are excited. Death Stranding, released, had a solid impact. Cyberpunk 2077 is being liked by most people, I would say, that are experiencing the game on, an Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, or PC, and to some extent, Xbox One X and a Series S and the PS4 Pro, but a good chunk of that community on base Xbox Ones and base PS4s are not having a good time. So that's unfortunate. But hopefully, if you could hang in there for a month or two, you experience some boost up in patches, then it might be okay for you too. But yeah, it really is a game that became next-gen focused, and kind of unfortunate that the base versions that they were originally in development for kind of failing a little bit too much to be called acceptable. But anyways, that's it today for Video Game News with Paul Gale Network. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Hope you had a fun time. I had a fun time talking. I'll see you all later for some Smash Bros. Talk, and next time for more VGN. All right, take it easy, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.